Shalom, shalom, brothers and sisters. This is Jose back with another one, right? And today we're going to be discussing the connections between the Mickmac tribe, the Potawatomi tribe, and the Fox tribe. We're going to be doing some reading today, so brothers and sisters, hope you don't get too bored. But we're going to be reading some sources that talk about these things. And it also reminds me of the video I did on Malak's review on Vocab Malone. I should have brought it out that night when he actually brought it out of the Navajo lady video. And we're gonna, use that video to back up more claims from the Mickmac, because that woman does speak about the Mickmac towards the end of her video, and that ties into what we're going to read today. So, you brothers and sisters, hope you enjoy it because we're going to get into some information on that today. Oh man, like I said, man, been a part of these interesting back chats, and right now we've been having this crazy, hysterical woman named Avery who who basically has a debate league called Information League on Facebook, which I'm gonna share right now, real quick. Now, this sister has been tagging me, Emac, and the brother Singing Bear or Daniel Yelpaz on constantly in the past week, basically trying to attack native information because she believes that she's a real native or that Negroes are the original first peoples. So she's been trying to bring out a lot of information or trying to. But as you see, you're about to witness here, like I completely destroyed her in her last post, and she hasn't really posted or tagged us since. You know what I'm saying? Because I think the sister learned her lesson about always being too hasty of trying to post information that's outdated and just doesn't hold any water anymore. You know? So I'll share it real quick. Leave it there, Mama. What are you doing?
Are you well? Or you pop your head?
Be careful.
Okay.
Uh, mm, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
How do I make it bigger? Let me make it bigger. So, like I said, this is her channel that she has on Facebook, right? Called Information Age, right? Whole bunch of people on it. As you can see, Emacs there, Daniel's there. You even see brother Joe. What's his name? Walter there. You see a few people, right? So this is the sister right here, right? Her name is Avery Scales, right? She has this weak channel, Information Age, where her and her little Pan African buddies, want their stuff and racist stuff, right? So like a few days ago, she tags me right here, right? She tags me, Eric. He says, "You guys are Neanderthals, and blacks are the pure humans," right? So she was on this little rant of hers because lately she's been on the back chat because I guess she's been feeling a certain way about me and about Daniel and Eric, whatever. And we've been debunking a lot of their claims, and I guess she's been feeling a certain way, and she's on this, oh, you guys are racist, trying to say black people aren't worth anything or haven't done anything. And we're like, no, that's not it. It's just that's the information you guys are putting out is just pseudo information. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna share information, at least share good information. Like this one clown in the black chat named Ruben, you know what I'm saying? He was also on that wobble stuff. Matter of fact, I should share some of that stuff. Because that's, yeah, I'll probably share a little stuff of that clown too. Because all his sources that he was putting in the back chat were just horrible. And I'm going to keep showing you people why. Like, I don't understand why a lot of these African Americans think that they're smart or they want to be debaters or they want to be teachers, but their information that they share is just trash, and they usually don't even really listen to what the source is actually saying. Like I was having an argument with the Ruben because he was talking about, well, I can bring out archaeologists and genetics of from you Hispanics, right? That's what he was saying, that say that Negroes were over here in the Americas prior to the colonization. And he said, yeah, and I also can pull out African who support that also. So I told him this. I was like, well, then why is it that we can also pull out your own African people in genetics or anthropologists that go against your claims? So what is it? Who's lying? Or can we just admit that science is not facts? One of the two. But the thing is what you can't say, and this is what I told Ruben, I said, what you can't say is that you have scientists in the same field coming up with different conclusions. Either your science is wrong or one of the two is lying. And this is the problem I keep telling people. Like I said, it don't matter if it's biblical, historical, scientifical. It don't matter what kind of discussions. When you guys, this is why I don't debate. Like debating is nonsense. When you debate a certain topic, the point is that each of the opponents can pull out source after source to whatever topic it is to back up their claims. You see what I'm saying? So what's the purpose of the debate then? If both sides can pull up their sources from their experts, their scholars, and their studies that they have done, who's really right then? What's the point of debating then? And that's the danger when you get into these conversations and try to get into a debate with somebody. When it all comes down, we talked about this on this channel a few times when Louis was here and everything. We talk about this all the time. It's about authority. What do we take as authority? This scientist or this scientist? Which other scientists have more authority, or which you personally want to believe in? That's all it is. Goes back to belief. Going back, if he's talking about your belief, you're going to support that scientist or that anthropologist or whatever the case may be. Same thing with your opponent. And anybody who believes in their theories are going to use it. So again, all this stuff is trash. So I was trying to explain that to Ruben and them. And he ends up posting like 4 videos in the back chat, which I'll play for you. And I'll show you how easily they're easily debunkable. You know what I'm saying? So I don't even know why these guys say these things, try to act like they're debaters or teachers, and they think that just because they say these things and think that people ain't going to check out their sources or read their sources, that they can just get away with this stuff, right? But let me share, like I said, back to information age, right? So let's get it right. She said, Jose Vega and Eric Diaz, you guys are Neanderthals and bunch of other pure humans, right? So she tags us to this video, old video. Like this video goes back like over 10 years ago, because I remember seeing this when I first came into the truth, like 7-8 years ago now. So this video is old, right? But the thing is that let's look at the comments and what I wrote back to her, right? Oh, you guys are Neanderthals, right? But the thing is that on a video chat, she already admitted these things that, let me make it a little bit bigger so you guys can read it. Where is it? Here it is. All right. But on the phone call, she admitted that she was right, because we were talking about genetics. We were talking about genetics on the phone call on the back chat, and she was telling me and Daniel about, because Daniel was actually pressuring her about, because she was saying that she was from I believe the Muscogee tribe or something like that. And Daniel was telling her, well, the tribe, or the Sioux tribe, I think was something like that. He was telling her, well, the tribes that you're claiming, Avery, genetic wise, they go back to Asians, you know what I'm saying? Either C or M, whatever the case may be. And she admitted, she was like, well, yeah, maybe I'm mixed with, with Asian and blah, 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 blah. So she already admitted that she was mixed to me and Daniel before she made this post. But then, like I said, then she makes this post saying this. I mean, well, you guys are Neanderthals. But I had to remind her, I was like, wait a minute. But you admitted that you're mixed with Asian. LOL. Hold on, you can't read it. Make it a little bit bigger. Hold on, let me make that bigger. All right. Yeah, y'all gotta see how hurt I get this girl, bro. Right? I said, you admitted you're mixed with Asians. So you're a Neanderthal too, dummy. You know what I'm saying? So, I have to be a little smart ass about it. But then after that, I posted this, right? Let's read it. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Boom. Make that bigger. How can I make this bigger? Let me see. Okay, why can't I make it bigger? But anyway, I posted an article saying, Africans carry a surprising amount of Neanderthal DNA. People on every continent, including Africa, have a genetic legacy from our extinct cousins, Neanderthals, right? Like one of the reconstructions left traces of DNA in modern Africans as well as in European and Asians, right? So I posted that up, right? Then I posted an article, I hit her, I kept hitting her and dagging her up. And this one was from Princeton University. And it said new studies identified Neanderthal ancestry in African populations and describes its origin back in June 30th of 2020. Right? Posted another one. She was getting mad, right? Hold on, let me see her response, right? Because you're gonna see her get mad about this stuff, right? Look what she ends up writing, right? Oh, my fault. This is the third one. Hold on. Boom, right here, right? So I posted actually four. Hold on for a second. Hold on. Right? So then I posted, another one, right? So he's getting these Pat Africans all mad, right? It says all modern humans have Neanderthal DNA. New researchers find, right? And again, so I kept hitting her with these things, right? And then she got actually mad at this one. She's like this. She says, Jose Vega, the lies you said, the length a racist will go, right? So there she goes, Jose, you're racist because why? Because I'm actually putting up scientific data on her group chat instead of a freaking video of a guy saying stuff like 15 years ago, showing you, what researchers are showing how, there are many Africans with Neanderthal DNA, debunking her. So now she's getting mad. She's like, Jose, the lies you spread, right? The lengths a racist will go, right? Well, look what she says that is, right? So I write back. I was like, LOL, you mad, huh? Not my fault. You keep pushing out outdated information. Step your weak scholarship game up. She writes back this. Hold on for a second, people. And also read. So I wrote back, she says, Jose Vega, if there's any truth in your articles, then DNA is a lie. You see that, people? So right there, people, you see how I clearly had her say that, hey, if this is true, if you're right, Jose, if your articles are true, Jose, the DNA must be fake. Because I made a post calling out you and Eric and Singing Bear and saying that you guys are animals and you guys are DNA from Neanderthals. But I guess she didn't do the research and figure out that that stuff is like old stuff. Like you haven't done your research lately. They're finding this stuff in everybody now. What are you talking about? And the mixing. And this is what I told her also on the group chat. I was like, and the mixing that you guys have done in the Americas with all the natives and whites and claim that you guys are mixing with, that's other African Americans mixing in with Neanderthal blood, right? So stop it, bro. Like all your arguments are just trash. You know what I'm saying? And again, this person has been harassing me all week long, making multiple posts on her weak little channel on Information Age. Easily debunked it. And you guys saw I got mad. They like to make these claims until what? Until you punch them in the face, kick them in the gut. Then now all of a sudden, DNA must be a lie. Oh my God, it must be because we can't be from Neanderthals. Well, then you shouldn't be tagging me and people like that when you look, make yourself look like a fool. Just like this brother. Hold on. Let's get to Ruben now, right? Because Ruben posting some crazy, like, pseudo nonsense. Hold on. Check this out. Where I put all the sync there shit. Right? So we have this guy in his back chat, right? He's on some Naga stuff, whatever he claims. He's a Naga. And the thing is that he actually has a little couple of followers that basically claim that they're Naga people and that he's their king. And he actually, have these people admitting these things. Hold on for a second. I'll be right back. My fault. So like I said, I was dealing with this clown, Ruben, right? Like I told you, this guy actually has people believing that he's like this thing called Naga. I don't even know what that really is, but that he's actually a king of this stuff, right? And he actually has a following of people that actually believe this stuff and that think that he's their king. I'm telling you, bro, these weird group chats that these people have me in, man. Bunch of crazy stuff. Bunch of crazy people, right? Bunch of crazy African Americans, bro. On some weird stuff. Right, so he sent these 4 videos. The first video is his own uncle, right? Because he lives in Louisiana and he claims that his uncle is a scholar, right? But he's saying, well, I have scholars that are saying that Negroes are over here, blah, blah, blah. But let's take very close listen to all these videos and what they're actually saying, right? So the first one, like I said, was from his uncle, right? And let's listen to what he has to say.
Discussion of Indians must begin with the nomenclature itself. Controversy over use of the term Indian mirrors the current debate among other ethnic minorities who reject European colonial names in favor of either ancient generic names or modern pseudonyms, which they feel best describe themselves. Understandably, many descendants of New World inhabitants reject Indian as a mistaken label first used to describe them by Columbus. On the other hand, the current term, Native American, is no more precise because there was no America, till Europeans identified it as such in the early 16th century. Since the term Indian is still used more frequently than Native American, therefore, for the sake of clarity, it will be used within this lecture to speak of New World inhabitants collectively, but wherever possible, the tribal society and community names will be used. For example, Chickasaw, Choctaw, Natchez, etc. While contemporary studies define Indians as an ethnic minority, there was a time when they were the majority. In fact, they once constituted the entire population of the New World. Although there is considerable differences of opinion among scholars about the place and time of origin of Indians, practically all reputable scholars agree that they migrated from Old World societies. While the majority of them seem to share a common Asian ancestry, there are a few who appear to have decidedly African or European ancestry. While the majority of them seem to share a common Asian ancestry, there are a few who appear to have decidedly African or European ancestry. While the majority of them seem to share a common Asian ancestry, there are a few who appear to have decidedly African or European ancestry.
I don't have to explain what's understood, man. You know what I mean by that. You know what I said by that. I ain't gotta go further. And if anybody don't understand that, then God be with them. Go look up.
And that's that goofy dude right there, King Naga. Okay, people. King Naga. He has little Instagram. Look, I'm 7-0 in my debates. Again, bro, these guys are clown shoes with this stuff, right? But again, what I want you to realize that in that video, right, that was probably his. Remember, people, his proof that, oh yeah, there were Negroes here prior to colonial. No, that's not what his uncle was saying. If you actually notice what his uncle was saying, first of all, he said at the end that the majority were of Asian people. But notice what he said at the end when he says very few were what? Negro, right? And what, people? And Europeans. So what? Are you saying that there were few European Indians over here too, people? Yeah, so Europeans were over here prior to colonialization. Yeah. Or maybe your uncle was going by modern day DNA about the Americas and about how some Native Americans are mixed with African and European and have it in their DNA today. Nowhere in that video did we see that person say the original or First Nations people were some Europeans or Negroes. That was horrible scholarship at one, right? I was like, man. And second of all, that's according to him, that Naga guy, that's his own uncle. So right there is his bias, anyways. Like, okay, you go by information your uncle said, your own family member said. I don't know his credentials, don't know him at all, never heard of him. He's from Louisiana. What we be talking about, stuff like that, I don't know. But let's check out his second video, and this is even worse, right? His second video was even worse that he shared. He says, Jose, we can even bring up your own anthropologist, right? Your own anthropologist. We could bring up your own anthropologist, your own Spanish, anthropologist, saying that the skulls that were found in the America was Negroid, right? That's what he said verbatim. But let's watch this video and let's see if this anthropologist actually says that. Hold on. Where's the volume? Okay, we're going to listen to this video. And again, this is why I keep telling you that these guys can pull these stuff on their back chats, but they can never come on my show and do this. Because you know me, people, I will allow them to bring it out, and then I'm going to chop up their own sources. I'm not going to hear them just talk it. You know me, I want to make them back it up. And, if he would have been on my show pushing this nonsense, I would have easily dagged him. Watch this video. Look at the nonsense that goes on here.
Walter Neves is a physical anthropologist at Sao Paulo University in Brazil. He's been using a standard and reliable archaeological measure, the shape of the skull, to find out what race she belonged to. He fully expected Luthia to be a Mongoloid, an ancestor of the American Indians. But then he fed the measurements into the computer.
When we started running the computer and seeing the results, it was amazing because we realized that the statistics, the quantitative analysis we were doing was not showing just people to be Mongoloid. In fact, the analysis was showing just people was anything except Mongoloid.
Anything except Mongoloid?
So who was Luthia? And where did she come from? was then given to Richard Neave of the University of Manchester in England, one of the world's leading forensic artists.
Right there, people. Now, went from an anthropologist to now a forensic whatever, or whatever he was doing, right? Now, did anybody hear the anthropologist say that that skull was a Negroid? Huh? But yet, we had this clown Ruben in the back chat. Oh, I have little Hispanic anthropologists saying that the skulls that they're finding are of Negro skull. He didn't say anything like that. He said that most of the skulls that they found were of Mongoloid, but the one that this specific one was anything but Mongoloid. But he certainly didn't say Negroid. Let's listen to it again. Watch.
To recreate her features.
In fact, the analysis statistics, it was amazing because we realized that the statistics, the quantitative analysis we were doing was not showing these people to be Mongoloid. In fact, the analysis was showing these people was anything except Mongoloid.
Anything except Mongoloid?
Results, it was amazing because we realized that the statistics, the quantitative analysis we were doing was not showing these people to be Mongoloid. In fact, the analysis was showing these people was anything except Mongoloid.
Anything except Mongoloid?
Okay, right there. See, right there, Ruben, you've been found to be a liar. You're a liar, sir. You were on the bat chat with me, Eric, Avery, with everybody saying, oh, I have your anthropology. Look, Jose, check the bat chat. I just dropped the video. Yeah, you think I wouldn't watch the video? He did not say that was a Negroid skull. Now, what I'm going to play the second part of the video because I know you're going to say, oh, why didn't you play the whole thing? I'll play the whole thing because remember, it went from an anthropologist, now it's going to a forensic whatever, right? Who's going to put clay on it and then give his opinion of what it looked like, right? Oh, it looks, but when you look at it, it looks like a Negroid. That's where he gets the opinion. That's not an anthropologist. Ruben, you lied, sir. You're a liar. But then I want to debunk all that, right? Because again, I debunked this years ago. Okay, I debunked this years ago. And again, the anthropologist, remember, people, he didn't say that was a Negroid. This forensic, whatever he is, he's gonna say it looks like a Negro after he puts the clay on. But again, does lookership count? No. I'm going to show you how we easily debunked that years ago, and showing you people the exact tribe that it comes from the Amazon in South America, right? I'm going to show you guys, you know what I'm saying? Because I was talking about this the other day with Emac.
So who was Luthia? And where did she come from? The cast was then given to Richard Neave of the University of Manchester in England, one of the world's leading forensic artists, to recreate her features.
That to me is a Negroid face that has all the features that you associate with a Negroid face. That to me is a Negroid face that has all the features that you associate with a Negroid face.
Again, people, that was his evidence, right? Oh, look, right? That forensic artist, right? Because of what the forensic artist said, right? Oh, look, his opinion of what it looked like. But let's go debunk that years ago, right? All right, because who does it actually resemble? All right, let me get it real quick. Where did I put it on? Emacs. How do I make this bigger? Trying to think. Where's that? Right here, right? I don't know if I make this bigger. Let me see. How can I make this bigger? I guess like that, right? I guess that's the best I could do right now. Nope, can't even see it. Matter of fact, I'll just pull it up on my photos because I know I have it in my photos. Google Photos. So I want y'all to read along with me, right? Let's see if I can find it real quick. What would I have it under? I think it's Native American. All right, let me share it. All right, I found it. All right, I'll make it bigger. Make it bigger. And not this again. Right? And it says, right, found in Brazilian cave, the Luzia woman is 11,500 years old. This elder is a Yanomami. The Yanomami are the largest relatively isolated tribe in South America. They live in the rainforests and mountains of northern Brazil and southern Venezuela. And as you clearly see, brothers and sisters, what it looks like. That is not an African American. at all. And again, this is what happens when you guys do weak scholarship. When you guys don't even know the tribes that you're even finding. Because again, they can't go around that because that's exactly where her bones were found in South America, right around where this tribe is from. And we could clearly see that they resemble them. But again, whack scholarship. Ruben, you were debunked. It was just horrible what you were trying to bring out. Shalom, bloodline. He says, let me see. Joseph's sons were by an Egyptian woman, aka the Northern Kingdom. Yes, that is facts. He says the non-European natives and Mexicans have reddish brown skin like the Egyptians, and Joseph had 2 sons by an Egyptian. That's what made it 10 tribes to 12 tribes. I really don't get what you're trying to say, bloodline. He says, oh, I get what you're saying. We'll have reddish brown skin like the Egyptians. I would say, to a degree, you're right about that because I do talk about that all the time. How we are the original, Redskins. You know what I'm saying? This is what they called our people. You know what I'm saying? They called us Redskins. So, yeah, 2 of the tribes, more than just 2 of the tribes have Egyptian blood. You even have many tribes that had Egyptian blood in them. You know that even in in the first book of Chronicles, I bring this up all the time. About what's his name? Jafta not having sons to pass on his genealogy, so he had to pass his genealogy through his servant, who was an Egyptian man, and that Egyptian man married his daughter, and they had like 14 generations of this Egyptian man's lineage listed under the genealogy of the tribe of Judah. A lot of people don't like to talk about that, but it is what it is. And also, you have Judah. He married and had Canaanite children. Even though he had 3 of them. 2 of them died. I believe only 1 survived. Um, you know, this is why I really don't. People have to realize that the Israelite began off by mixing. You know what I'm saying? So when people try to bring up this, oh, I'm a pure blood, all you're actually talking about is that you can't be an Israelite because Israelites were known to mix. Especially that's how the nation formed by mixing. The nation of Israel was not formed by Jacob's 12 sons having sex with Dinah, their sister. You know what I'm saying? And reproducing with their sister to have this pure bloodline. No, all the sons of Jacob married women of different nations and planted their seeds, and they continued on that way while they were in Egypt with the other mixed multitudes that the Egyptians were rounding up and putting under slavery. You know what I'm saying? So the Israelites actually began as a mixed people, as a nation. All right. Any brothers want to hop on, discuss anything before I get into the reading we're about to do? Get out of this screen. Okay. All right. So the photos. Yeah, we'll start off with this one. Let me share it. Facts, brother. We could get into that real quick. Hold on. He said only a very small percentage of blacks have Israelite blood. The rest are Cushites and Putties, Negroes. I would say I would well actually teach that a lot of the African Americans that came over here from West African or from West Africa or Canaanites. You know what I'm saying? I know the brother LaRon Campbell. Yeah, that's what it is. The brother LaRon Campbell, who was um, a Christian apologist. I know he teaches that a lot of the Negroes were actually Cushites. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is that according to scripture, now if we're speaking, strictly scriptural, we really don't see any prophecies or anything saying about some Cushites being scattered like the way that the African Americans are. But we do see instances of the Canaanites being scattered in the scriptures and being seafarers and uh, and said to be even cursed more than Israel. So that to me will make more sense of African Americans being Canaanites and not actually Cushites. So that's what I would say about that. Right. But let me get into this article. And again, these are now what I'm about to read for you, brothers and sisters. Well, like I said, we're going to be talking about the Mickmac tribe, probably more details than the Fox tribe and the other tribe I set up on the title. What's the name of that tribe again? Let me see. Oh, the Potawatomian, yeah, the Potawatomian tribe, right? We'll talk about that. We got a few sources to read to get in a little bit more details and back up these tribes. And then, like I said, we're going to play the video of Navajo Grandma because she actually starts talking about the Mi'kmaq, and we're going to get into a little bit of details about what she's going to speak about the Mi'kmaq tribe's language, right, and stuff like that, right? And he says, "So you believe none of the blacks are Israelites?" No, I don't believe. No, I don't believe. I don't teach that either. I teach. At the end of the day, I really don't teach tribalism. At the end of the day, if you claim to be a child of the Most High, I just take it as it is. It don't matter what you are. You could be Asian, white, black, Arab. I don't care. If you claim that you're a follower of Christ and a believer of the Most High, uh, then I consider you my brother. But most individuals that try to be carnal with the scriptures, like I said, the scriptures lets you identify and helps you identify the characteristics of these nations and how they act. You know what I'm saying? So usually when you're dealing with black Hebrew Israelites who claim that, God's black, the Jews are black, Christ is black, and they really have no scriptures to really back it up. Um, to me, that's like a God complex. And according to the scriptures, that's the characteristics of the Canaanites. When you read in Ezekiel, was it Ezekiel 28, about how the Canaanites view themselves as gods and how they think that they sit in the seat of God and stuff like that. So when you hear like boasting of the flesh and boasting, stuff like that and that nature of people trying to make you worship them, uh, that's a very big sign of you're dealing with a Canaanite. And yes, the Moorish blacks were probably Canaanites. And to tell you the truth, Noble Drew Ali, even when you go on Google, anybody could do that. Go on Google and look up the Moorish Science Temple, and when you go under to their to their platform or site and look up their history, it breaks down their history about even their prophets. And one of their major prophets was Noble Drew Ali. Back in 1913, he opened up the first Canaanite temple in New Jersey. Was it Newark, New Jersey? All right, I think yeah, Newark, New Jersey, in about 1913 or 1903. Either one of those two, either 1903 or 1913. He opened up the first Canaanite temple over there. So yeah, I do even know that the Moorish community do teach that they're also Canaanites and stuff like that also. So yeah, we are aware about that over here in this channel. We've been talking about that for years. All right. Let me get into this article. All right, let me make it bigger. Okay. That looks big enough. All right, this is from ANU, Museum of the Jewish People, by Chaim F. Gozili, right? And it says, after the death of King Solomon in 928 BC, his realm was divided into the kingdom of Israel and the kingdom of Judea. The territory of the kingdom of Israel covered most of central and north land of Israel and was inhabited by the descendants of the 10 of the original 12 tribes that conquered the land of Canaan under the leadership of Joshua: Asher, Dan, Ephraim, Gad, Issachar, Manasseh, Naphtali, Reuben, Simeon, and Zebulun. The kingdom of Judea centered of Jerusalem and the Judean highlands and comprised the remaining two tribes of Judah and Benjamin. The kingdom of Israel was conquered by the Assyrians in 721 BCE. And in line with the general policy of the Assyrians, its inhabitants were deported to other regions of their empire. The 10 tribes either assimilated into other people and tribes inside the Assyrian Empire or were incorporated into the tribes of Judah and Benjamin. When they too were deported to Babylonia, followed the capture of Jerusalem by the Babylonians under Nebuchadnezzar in 586 BCE, from the book of Ezekiel 37:20 through 21. Now, I'm going to skip this part and go down to the New Age when they get into the Native Americans, because like I said, that's what we're talking about right here, right? Now, I'll remind you again, people, what we're discussing here is not from Native Americans, it's basically from the Jewish people, right? And what the Jewish people are basically saying, right? So we're going to find out and get into little deep details about what they had to say on the matter. And this is from the modern era, right? And it reads this: the interest in the fate of the 10 lost tribes received a new impetus from a number of developments, among them the growth of the Kabbalah and the Jewish mysticism after the 16th century, including various Messianic movements, of them that of the Shabbatia Veil from 1626 through 1676 having the strongest impact. The great geographical discoveries and the European contact with previously unknown regions and populations also contributed to the increased interest in the quest for the 10 lost tribes of Israel. The Jerusalem Kabbalist R. Abraham ben Elazar HaLevi, in a letter from 1828, described the Jews of Ethiopia as descendants from the tribe of Dan and Gad, while in a letter to R. Israel Ashkenazi of Jerusalem, there is mention of a man claiming to belong to the 10 lost tribes, of who testified that the 10 lost tribes do not have any acknowledgement or oral law. David Rubini, a 16th century Jewish adventurer, managed to be received by Emperor Charles V of Rugenberg, along with the false messiah Solomon Malcho from 1500 through 1532, and claimed to represent a relative of King Joseph, who ruled over the tribe of Reuben, Gad, and half of Manasseh. David Rubini eventually died in Spain's prison in 1538, but his extraordinary story prompted Abraham ben Mordici Persil from 1451 through 1525, the first Jewish author to mention the newly discovered American continent, to dedicate an entire chapter of his tractate to the subject of the 10 lost tribes, origin on home, alone Venice in 1586. In the 17th century, the myth of the 10 lost tribes became central theme of Sabbatian propaganda. Shabbati Z, the false messiah, is depicted as commander of the 10 lost tribes as same period R. Manasseh bin Israel of Amsterdam from 1604 through 1657. In his book, Machiavel, Israel, Hopes of Israel, London in 1654, brings a testimony of the Portuguese crypto Jews. Aaron Levi, known as Antonio Mentezinos, who claimed to have encountered during his travels to South America, Ecuador, Peru, Colombia, Venezuela, Indian tribes practicing some Jewish rituals, and who allegedly were descendants of the tribe of Reuben, Levi, Manasseh ben Israel, used the legends of the lost tribes and pleading successfully for the admission of Jews into England during Oliver Cromwell's regime. In the 19th century, saw a renewal interest in the fate of the 10 lost tribes by Jews. Some Jewish communities sent emissaries to search for the 10 lost tribes. Other seekers were private individuals who undertook to disclose the place of the 10 lost tribes. Of them, a special mention should be made of Joseph Israel in 1818 through 1864, a Romani-born Jewish adventurer and great admirer of Benjamin of Tudela, to the extent that he changed his name to Benjamin II. Joseph Israel traveled between 1845 to 1859 from Istanbul, Turkey, to Egypt, Syria, land of Israel, Kurdistan, Mesopotamia, Persia, Afghanistan, India, and after 1589 to North America, searching and inquiring everywhere for the 10 lost tribes. Joseph Israel met various Jewish communities and collected valuable information about their way of life and traditions. Among the Jewish community of Asia, he met of the Benin Israel in India, who in Israel's opinion was descendants of the 10 tribes. Right? And I think that's probably the end when he starts talking about the natives, right? But as you see here, brothers and sisters, right? Oh, now my fault. I was on mute. Was I on mute the whole time? No. Hold on. I don't know. Was I on mute the whole time when I was reading this? Can y'all brothers this is type in yes or no? I don't know. For some reason, when I got back here, I don't know if I pushed the mute button. All right, brother Ross. So you heard? Did you hear me read it, brother Ross? Okay, so you're all right. Good. So you heard me read it. All right, cool. So like I said, so this is from the Jewish community saying that stuff, right? So now we're gonna go. All right, but okay, but y'all did hear me read it. All right, as long as your brothers and sisters heard me read the article. All right, cool. So now we're gonna read another article from basically from the Mickmac tribe, right? Well, about the Mickmac tribe, and then we're gonna play the video from. Damn, I'm trying to think. No, matter of fact, we'll play the video from the Navajo uh, grandma first, and then get into the article because she does start getting into the language, and we'll break it down in this article. Shalom, brother Ross. Thanks for answering me, bro. There it is. Now, for any of you brothers and sisters who haven't seen this video, I would encourage you brothers to see it because the sister talks about powerful stuff. But we're gonna take it from like almost a little bit past the halfway point where she starts talking about how her and her grandfather, talk about the Mickmac tribe that we're about to talk about, right? Let's tune in to what she has to say.
Where the 4 sacred mountains are now, our children, our posterity's umbilical cords are buried here. And this is always going to be a place that our hearts yearn for. And this is a sacred place for us. So that was kind of that was the teachings that I received. Now, Grandpa and I have we've done genealogy research and visited the Mickmac tribe in Maine. This is, I can't explain and have you feel unless you were there, how amazing it was to go in and meet the Mickmac and to have one of the tribal members take us to the museum. And the things we saw there were memorable and actually a testimony of and supported everything my grandfather and these 12 men spoke about. They talk about their history as these turtle boats. Now, the turtle boats that they referred to were like this, and
Real quick, and this is for the brother Malak when he brought up this video when he was talking to Vocab. Brother Malak should have let this part also play because the reason why Malak played this video for Vocab was to prove how the Navajo have stories about how they came from the east, right? Proving that they came from the east on boats. He should have let this video keep playing because she's right now about to tell you the story about how the Mi'kmaq have the same similar story, but theirs is about how they were on like these turtle boats and how they came from the east. So, yo, Malak, bro, you should have just let that video continue because you would have had not only the Navajo, but you would have had the story of even the Mi'kmaq tribe, even telling stories about how they came from the east, also, right? On boats, you know what I'm saying? So that would have been a good point to bring out another tribe, to back up the Navajo.
conal shape, and they came across the great waters in that, and they ended up in the shores and came down the St. Lawrence River. And they tell you this. And then they get to the St. Lawrence River and they dispersed from there. And these people moved, they went up and they moved north. Now, as you know, the Mi'kmacs went north and they cover all of the different islands north, Nova Scotia, etc. They talked about, and they call them turtle boats. I told you, the little turtle boats. They call them turtle boats. I told you, the little turtle boats. And there was an incredible amount in what we know and understand that that came. So once they made their home in Maine, you look at let's go with their language. Now, I don't know if you know what Reformed Egyptian is, but I will call it Reformed Egyptian. Some people laugh at that, but it is. And it was their written language that they brought with them, and they were still, to this day, they use it. The hieroglyphics that they use, the writings, the words they use. And they call this sometimes the Adamic language. And it's incredible to hear. The people, their dress, to hear. Adamic words they use that they brought with them, and they were still, to this day, they use it. Let's go with their language. Now, I don't know if you know what Reformed Egyptian is, but I will call it Reformed Egyptian. Some people laugh at that, but it is. And it was their written language that they brought with them, and they were still, to this day, they use it. the hieroglyphics that they use, the writings, the words they use. And they call this sometimes the Adamic language. And it's incredible to hear. The people.
Now, again, brothers and sisters, I brought this out months ago, almost probably like 6-7 months ago. I'm back on our natives, Israelites, I think native history or something like that, either part 1 or part 2, where I was breaking down the Mickmac tribe's language. Right now, you hear the Navajo grandma talk about the Mickmac tribe's language and how it's what people. Let's hear it one more time, and then I'm going to prove it. We're going to get into an article and we're going to prove these things, right? Because I brought this information out a while ago. Watch this.
And they called this, it was a written language. You know what Reformed Egyptian in Maine? You look at let's go with their language. Now, I don't know if you know what Reformed Egyptian is, but I will call it Reformed Egyptian. Some people laugh at that, but it is. And it was their written language that they brought with them, and they were still, to this day, they use it.
Now, again, people, she's telling you how they're bringing this language from the East, this broken down Egyptian language, right? Now, let's get into this article, right? Let's get into details about the Mickmac. All right, hold on, where am I at? Okay. Let me see if it's big enough. Make it bigger. Let's make it bigger, right? All right. And this is from the Book of Mormon evidence, right? It says Hebrews, Mi'kmaq, Egyptian, and Native American one people by Book of Mormon evidence, September 5th, 2019, right? I'm going to read some of this stuff, but it's going to get pretty interesting, right? Especially this imagery right here that we're going to explain in a second. So let's read what it says. How can I make this bigger? I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. I'll read together. All right, cool. All right. That looks big enough. All right. Let's read on. It says, the above are representatives of the characters given to Martin Harris, the scribe to Joseph Smith, Jr., where he requested that he obtain proof of the antiquity of the records being translated. Martin was given a small piece of paper on which were written several lines of the characters from the metal plates. According to Joseph Smith, these characters represented a form of reformed Egyptian writing. At the time, Joseph, who started translating from the Book of Lehi, produced from source material inscribed on the large plates of Nephi and edited by the prophet and historian Mormon on his plates of Mormon. Martin Harris subsequently traveled to New York City and met with Professor Charles Anthon, and well-known classical scholar at Columbia College, for an expert opinion on the authenticity of the characters of the translation. In 1838, Joseph Smith related an account based on Harrison's version of the meeting, writing that Anthon stated that the translation was correct, more so than any he had before seen translated from the Egyptian, then showed him those not yet translated and said they were Egyptian, Chaldaic, Assyric, and Arabic, and that they were true characters. According to Harris, Professor Anthony wrote Harris a letter of authenticity declaring that the fragment to contain true Egyptian characters. Anthony was also reported to have confirmed the translation of these characters as correct when informed the angel of God had revealed the character to Smith. Anthony reportedly tore up the authentication, stating that there was no such thing as angels, and asked Harris to bring the place to him for translation. Anthony reported to have said to Harris, "I cannot bring a sealed book." Joseph Smith, History 162 through 65. Now it says right here, people, basically the figment number 1, right? It shows a hieroglyphics from the ancient has similarities to the meaning to those of the Mickmac First Nations, an important Algonquian tribe that occupied Nova Scotia, Cape Breton, and Prince Edward's Island, the northern part of New Brunswick, and probably points in South and West Newfoundland, Fellberry, the Mickmac manuscripts, Socially Associated Papers 21, 1992, page 225, right? So let's go to that figuration it's talking about, right? Now, I want you people to realize this, people. Right? Boom. Now, what you brothers and sisters right here, what I want you guys to get is this, because I know you're probably at loss about why I'm bringing this information out, about what's the importance of the Mi'kmaq tribe, not only speaking and writing this broken Egypt language, right? And you probably are wondering, well, why are you reading about Mormonism and about Joseph Smith, right? The importance is what I'm about to bring out is important, because we're going to see the correlations and the similarities of the writing system that Joseph Smith wrote the Book of Mormon in, which is a broken Egyptian hieroglyph, and compare it to the Mi'kmaq, basically proving that it was actually, and what I'm about to prove to you people, that it was actually the Mi'kmaq tribe, who are Northern Kingdom Israelites, who actually wrote the Book of Mormon. Because we all know that this white man, Joseph Smith, is not capable to write the Book of Mormon in a broken Egyptian hieroglyph, which I'll give you an example of it right here. As you brothers and sisters see right here on this paper right here is an example of Joseph Smith writing in the broken Egyptian hieroglyph right there, as you see right there, people. Now, the point is this, people. How did a so-called white man write this? The point is that he didn't. That's the whole point, people. And the proof right now we're going to see is right here, right next to it. As you see, people, it says right there in the white, it says ancient Egyptian meaning, right? And look right next to it, it says Mi'kmaq meaning. Now, I want you brothers and sisters to realize these are the symbols that we're seeing. And you guys see the similarities. And not only the similarities, but basically how they actually mean the same things also, right? So as you see right here, right, the one with the looks like a cross with a circle on it, in ancient, Egyptian meaning, it means good, right? In the Mi'kmaq meaning, it means holy, which would be good, right? Hold on, I don't know why it's showing this thing. And then the other one says means star, right? Under the Mi'kmaq meaning, it means heaven. Under the thing that looks like a little bowl means all, but the thing over here that looks like a ball with stripes in it means all. Now, the thing that looks like an ancient high place or an ancient pyramid, right? It means an ancient high place ascending under the Egyptian meaning. Under the Mi'kmaq meaning, it means good, people. Now, when we scroll down, right, this is figure 1, right? Comparisons of the ancient is on the left, and the Mi'kmaq hieroglyphs is on the right. Now, when we look at their writing system, right, from the book of Nephi and the Mi'kmaq, look at the similarities, people, of the writing as they're compared right next to each other. So again, Now we all know, like I said, I remember. Matter of fact, I should play that video of when I was bringing out the Gabriel stone, and even the people in Israeli today, and this is how they can tell about the writing style, about how ancient it is, and they'll tell you that through certain centuries, writing styles change, and you see a lot of similarities, and a lot of little bit of changes, as you guys clearly saw what I just showed you, comparing the Mickmac and ancient Egyptian block writing, right? Hieroglyphs, and we see the similarities. But the thing is that all right, so we know that it must have been the Mi'kmaq that actually wrote down the records of their own people of the Book of Mormon. It's in their language. We just made a comparison about Joseph Smith's writing down this ancient Egypt writing that happens to be the same writing as the Mi'kmaq, the same place around. And again, where Joseph Smith claimed to have found these top tablets that an angel told him where it was at, right? These tablets were at. It's in Mi'kmaq territory. Coincidence? I think not. Why? Because the Mi'kmaq actually must have written it. And this is why I even brung out Little Bear and from the Cheyenne tribe, you know what I'm saying? And why he believes that his people are Israelites and things of that nature. Because the Cheyenne tribe is another tribe, just like the Mi'kmaq tribe, that make ties with the Book of Mormon with these arguments, you know what I'm saying? And these are arguments that the Mormon people talk about and the tribes that they actually talk about and deal with. And this is more information for you brothers and sisters just to learn. Hey, I know people like to clown the Mormons, but you guys should learn who the Mormons, since they know that this teaching that, their book is teaching that the Native Americans or the Northern Kingdom that came over here, that you would think that, hey, they would be talking to other Native tribes like the Cheyenne and like the Mi'kmaq. All right, my fault. I'm back. So, like I said, I was just talking about making the correlation between the Mi'kmaq and the Book of Mormon. And back, like I said, back to the video of the sister. Let's see what she says.
Oh, I'm gonna whip her ass, bro. They touch everything.
Now, as you know, the Mi'kmacs went north and they cover all of the different islands north, Nova Scotia, etc. They talked about, and they call them turtle boats. I told you, the little turtle boats. And there was an incredible amount in what we know and understand that that came. So once they made their home in Maine, you look at let's go with their language. Now, I don't know if you know what Reformed Egyptian is, but I will call it Reformed Egyptian. Some people laugh at that, but it is. And it was their written language that they brought with them and they were still, to this day, they use it. The hieroglyphics that they use, the writings, the words they use. And they call this sometimes the Adamic language.
So let's speak about that a little bit, right? Let's get back to that article real quick. Let's get back to that article. Let's read what it says here, right? It says, Indians of America, words and phrases we should have written in Hebrew, but the Hebrew have been altered by us also. Mormon 9:33. It says, among the classic of writers, Afro said, is Mr. James Adair, who resided 40 years among the American tribes and who wrote a book on the subject, which was published about the year 1775, in which he, without hesitation, without hesitation, declares that the American Aborigines are descendants from the Israelites. And so complete and is his conviction on this head, that he declared he finds a perfect and undisputable similitude in each. He says, from the most accurate observations I could make in a long time I traded among the Indians of America, I was forced to believe them linearly descendant from the tribe of Israel. Histories of the American Indians, Leonard Edward of Charles Dilly, 1775, page 13. A table of words and phrases is furnished by Dr. Bendunet Adair and others to show the similarities in some of the Indian languages to the Hebrew, and that the former must have been derived from the latter. Hines Elijah M., The American Indian. The whole subject complete in one volume, Chicago Company, 1888, right? Now, people, like as you can see, certain words from the English, from Indian, from the Hebrew. So we see it, right? Jehovah, Yohewa, Jehovah, right? God, Eli or Eliam, Jah or Yah or Wah or Jah in the Hebrew, right? Or Shiloh or Shilu in the American, under the Americans, right? On the Hebrew is Shiloh, right? Heavens, Chemnin, Shanin, Father, Abba. Look at that. It's the same word in Indian and the same thing in the Hebrew, Abba. For man, Ish or Ishi. Same thing in the Hebrew, Ish. Ishto, same thing, Ishto. Awa, Ewa or Eve. Hallelujah, Hallelujah or Hallelujah, right? As your brothers and sisters can see all the similarities from the Indian language into the Hebrew.
You want me to tell you when you come into the room?
Nah, Kesh. Hey, people. Let's go back to the video.
This one is doing live. You wanted everything quiet, everything.
All right, so let's get down with that. That is done. Let me get out of here. Let's go back to the video.
Put on these shoes here.
Start screen.
Look at this bathroom. Holy shit.
And it's incredible to hear. The people, their dress, in their clothing, they have like a vest, but they have their prayer cloth underneath with the tassels. They wear that always. And then you see them when they go to the door, there's holes in the doors, and that's where they have their He says they use papyrus. They fashion the bark, and they have their prayers, their sacred prayers, and they're on both sides of the doors. And when they go there, they repeat it, and they live by that. I mean, it was like almost. I thought, gee whiz, I didn't know the Jewish culture. And of course, we started with Fiddler on the Roof, and you know what they were like, their prayers and the way they were. And it's so amazing because the Mickmacs are similar in that. And they were, the Mickmacs are similar in prayers and the way they were. And it's so amazing because the Mickmacs are similar in that. And the way they were. And it's so amazing because the Mickmacs are similar in that. And of course, we started with Fiddler on the Roof, and you know what they were like, their prayers and the way they were. And it's so amazing because the Mickmacs are similar in that. And they were very, very prayerful. I love these people. And so, with that said, I mean, they continued. The whole museum was just mind-boggling, and how they came across, and the stories, they so related to what my grandfather had spoken. They talk about the wars and the things that happen, and who they look forward to seeing again. It's incredible. So when you put all this together, you realize that, see, here's the traditional, and here is what my oral history is. This is the teachings of my grandfather and these 12 men. And then we have the modern Dene people who haven't even asked. Most of them probably haven't even asked their grandparents, what is our tradition? Where did we come from? The only thing they will tell you is we came from Dogoslid up there in Flagstaff, somewhere there. Then all of a sudden we're in Colorado. We came out of a hole there and it's sacred. See, my grandfather, that's why he never taught me the traditions. He said, man can change traditions, but that's not the solid teachings that we know. And this oral history is solid. Our grandparents taught us generation to generation to generation. So many aspects of life that the history books can't tell that. But when you sit down and talk with a Native American and you talk with the elderly, you discover how critical and how amazing their story is, that it's not spewed all over. It's not taken for granted, but it's in here. And it's a whole spirit of this incredible oral history. And this is what I'm sharing with you. And again, these are the things that my grandfather taught me. I'm lightly telling you this, and I pray that you will respect this. We all have a story. We all have our oral history. Mine is the answers of where I came. And that is where I'm going to leave it. And again, I could go in depth, but I'm not. It's reverent to me. I can only do this in reverence. So now I'm going to thank Amy Teal and Marianne Spring again for this beautiful topic, though we didn't delve into it so deep. But what Grandma has expressed to you, you're not going to hear you're not going to hear this anywhere else. You're not going to hear you're not going to hear this anywhere else to you. You're not going to hear you're not going to hear this anywhere else. You're not going to hear you're not going to hear this anywhere else. And these are the things that my grandfather handed down to me. And I always ask, if you're Dene, whoever you are, Ask your ancestors, ask your grandparents, and find out where you came from. The truth, not what the books tell you. Not don't read the history books, but find out for sure. Pray about it. Don't take it for granted. It will always lead you back to your creator.
All right, that's enough of that. All right, let's just get back into another. Let's read another source real quick. We're going to get into like I said, the Fox tribe and the other tribe that I was talking about. All right. This from Views of the Hebrew, right? By Ethan Smith. See if I can make it bigger so we can all read together. All right. See if I can make it a little bit bigger. That was too big. Let me see. All right. That looks pretty big, right? Looks big enough. And it reads, the Reverend Dr. Moores, in his report of his tour among the Indians at the West, made under commission from our government in 1820, the assertion the actual state of the Indians in our country says it is a matter of surprise that the Indians, situated as they have been for many successive ages and generations, as they have been for so many successive ages and generations, without books or knowledge of letters, or of the art of reading or writing, should have preserved their various languages in the manner they have done. Many of them are capacious, capable of regular grammatical analysis, possess great strength, gracefulness, and beauty of expression. They are highly metaphorical in their character, and in this and other respects resemble the Hebrews. This resemblance in the language and the similarities of many of their religious customs and to those of the Jews certainly give plausibility to the ingenious theory of Dr. Benduniat exhibited in his interesting work entitled The Star in the West. A faithful and thorough examination of the various languages of the Indian tribes will probably show that there are very few of them that are throughout radically different. The difference of these languages are mostly difference of dialect. The various Indian tribes visited by Dr. Morse had their great spirit. Speaking of the manner of the customs of the Sioux, the Fox tribe, and Pattowattamies, and others, he says. Of this feast, the great spirit are frequently made by these Indians. One of these feasts, he says, they scatter themselves in a circle on the ground, where one of the guests placed before each person a wooden bowl, which his portion of the feast, and they commence eating. When each man's portion is eaten, the bones are collected and put into a wooden bowl and thrown to the river or burnt. The whole of the feast must be eaten, and if any cannot eat his part of it, he passes his dish with a piece of tobacco to his neighbor, and he eats it, and the guests then retire. Those who make the feast never eat any part of it themselves. They say they give the part to the Great Spirit. He seems manifestly the same feast noted by the authors among other and different tribes in the different parts of the continent, and probably answering the Passover in ancient Israel. The different and distant tribes have their circumstantial differences, which yet certain things indicate that the feast is broken traditions of the Passover. Author's tradition from a Hebrew rite, the doctor states, he says, the women of the nations are very peculiar to remove from their lodges the one erected for that peculiar purpose as to such seasons as were customarily observed by Jewish women according to the law of Moses. No article or furniture ever used in the lodge is ever used in any other, not even the steel or the flint which they strike fire. No man approached this lodge while a woman occupied it. The existence of this extensive Indian rite is full asserted, and its origin there appears very little room to doubt. This writer says the belief of these Indians relative to their creation is very unlike our own. Moscow, one of the chiefs of the Sioux, informed me that they believe that the Great Spirit in the first place created man from the dust of the earth, two men, but finding that these alone would not answer his purpose, he took from them each man a rib and made two women. Of the descendants of the two pair, they say, they were all one nation until they behaved so badly that the Great Spirit came among them and talked different languages to them, which caused them to separate and form different nations. Here are manifest broken fragments of Moses' history of creation and of the confusion of the language of Babel. I asked, says Dr. M, how they suppose white men were made. He replied that the Indians supposed the Great Spirit had made them the fine dust of the earth, and that they know more than Indians. Dr. M gives an account of their holdings to a future state and to some kinds of reward for the good and punishments for the wicked. He informs from Major Cummings that the Indians are very suspicious of some evil intent when questioned by the Americans, and that there is no way to obtain a full knowledge of their tradition ways by large residents in their country. This may account for the fact that their traditions, which seem manifestly Hebrew, were kept so long and so great a degree from the knowledge of our people. Relative to the manner of transecting their public business, they informed Dr. M, we opened our council by smoking a pipe selected for the occasion, and we addressed the audience throughout the speaker, from who the purpose first voking the Great Spirit to inspire us with wisdom. We open our council in the name of the Great Spirit and close with the same. He informs that the Indians, before attending the treaties, Great Council, or any other important national businesses, always sacrifice to obtain the goodwill of the Great Spirit. He and adds, There are no people more frequent or fervent in the acknowledgement of gratitude of God. Their belief in Him is universal, and their confidence astonishingly strong. Speaking of their feast, he says, their principal festival is celebrated in the month of August, sooner or later, as the forwardness of the corn will admit. It is called the Green Corn Dance, a more probable speaking, the ceremony of thanksgiving for the first fruits of the earth. This question continually reoccurs whence came things like these among the natives of our continent, or the American savages, unless these savages are the very tribes of Israel. No evidence is furnished that such a variant of Hebrew rites is found among any other people on earth except the Jews, and it seemed morally impossible they should have derived the from any other source than the ancient Hebrew religion. Mr. Scrollcraft, a member of the New York Historical Society, in his journal of traveling among the Western Indians, round and beyond the water lakes to the mouth of the Mississippi in 1820, gives some account which he confirms some of the Indian traditions already exhibited. He speaks of attending a feast among the Sioux Indians, a feast of first green corn. He says our attention was to draw off by the sound of the Indian music, which proceeded from others' large cabin and no other great distance. But we found the doors closed and were informed that they were celebrating an annual feast in which one certainly person in the village were allowed to be present, and that it was not customary to admit strangers. Our curiosity being excited, we applied to the governor, cast to intercede for us, and were by that means admitted. The first striking object presented was two large kettles full of green corn, cut from the corn and boiled. They hung over a moderate fire in the midst of the cabin, and the Indians, both men and women, seated song in a savage manner. The utter solemnity was depicted upon every countenance. When the music ceased, it was frequently did for a few seconds. There were a few mysterious pause, during which certain pantomimic signs were made and appeal. Oh, this is basically getting into like music, so we don't have to really get into that part, right? But as you see, brothers and sisters, from this source, it even mentions other tribes that were basically that they were observing, like the Fox tribe and the Sioux people that were also doing practicing Hebrew customs, right? That's the end of that, people. Hope you brothers and sisters enjoyed it. Enjoy the reading. I'm gonna share the link if anybody wants to come on, say anything, have anything they want to bring out. Probably bring out one little point that I found pretty deep. That we talk about this all the time. Well, I used to talk about this on Ancient Watchmen. All right, hold on. Let me share the screen. All right, because we're going to talk about a certain scripture, right? The book of Daniels. Matter of fact, before that, let's show the video. Hold on. Oh, no, man, I think I have an ear infection. Getting an ear infection. My ear hurts. Avatar. Let me share it. Before we get to that scripture, let me share it real quick. Now, before I play the video, I want y'all to get the concept, right? Because we all remember this scene in the movie Avatar, right? About I want people to realize that the powers that be secretly tell you things that are in the Bible, you know what I'm saying? That are strictly in the Bible, right? Now, it's powerful that this scene, right? Because we talk about this on Ancient Watchmen about how we're humans and how we're connected to the Mother Earth, right? How our fingerprints are just like tree trunks, you know what I'm saying? Our eyelids are like lightning strikes. We're like connected with the community. Matter of fact, I think I showed a little video clip on my last live about this, right? But the point is this, right? In this scene, right, we know that in this movie Avatar, these giant trees, right, basically meant a great deal not only to the planet but to the people, right? Now we're gonna watch this scene, and again, this is like secretly the white man telling you what they did when they got here into this earth, basically, right? Now watch.
God damn it! Run! That is one big damn tree.
Well, well, well. I'd say diplomacy has failed. All right, people, let's get this done. I want every gas round you got right in the front door.
Roger. CS-40 going hot.
Fire.
Firing.
Bingo. A good shoot, Ace.
Sir, they've opened fire.
You gotta be kidding me. These dumb bastards ain't getting the message. All right, let's turn up the heat. Switch incendiaries. Fire.
Solid rocks on target.
Screw this.
Hey, what the hell are you doing?
I didn't sign up for this shit.
Repeat. Triple fire.
Go, go, go!
Now, again, this is something that's not new, right? Because we see structures like that all over the earth, right? Now, the question is this, right? Does the Bible speak about this, right? Of course it does, right? Before that, let's show a little thing. As you brothers and sisters see right here, right? These are mountains that look like mountains, but really are tree trunks, people. When you look at it, these are actual tree trunks. And the Bible actually speaks upon this, right? Let's get the scripture. In the book of Daniel's, right? Daniel's chapter 4, right? Let's read. This is Daniel's chapter 4. Let me see. Yeah, Daniel chapter 4, verse 10. And it says, "Here are the visions of my mind while I was on my bed, while I was watching. There was a tree in the middle of the land, and it was enormously tall. The tree grew large and strong. Its top reached far into the sky. It could be seen from the borders of all the land." You see that, people? According to Daniel, that there was a tree amongst the land of Israel, right? That it don't matter where you stood in the land of Israel, you were able to see this tree. This is how tall this tree looked. Matter of fact, let's read it in the KJV, because it may say something different in the KJV, because you know me, I like reading from the nets, right? For you KJV readers, right? Let's go see what it says. It says this: "Thus were the visions of my head in my bed. I saw behind a tree in the midst of the earth, and the height thereof was great. The tree grew, and it was strong, and the height thereof reached into the heaven." It reached onto heaven, and the sight thereof to the end of all the earth. And the sight thereof to the end of all the earth. So this tree was be able to see throughout the earth, right? According to the KJV. This is how large this tree was. So like I said, like I told you, keep telling y'all, man, they be secretly be telling y'all things in these movies. Y'all need to be paying attention. But that was a beautiful thing, huh? Yeah.
Bob's Burger.
All right. I guess with that, I'm gonna say shalom. Hope you brothers enjoyed the class. Enjoy the information. I'm gonna drop the link. Anybody wants to come on? If not, like I said, I'm probably just gonna end the live. Thanks for tuning in. And I'm gonna say shalom. Anybody, like I said, everybody hit the link. Everybody wants to join in, you can hit the link. Other than that, I'm gonna say peace out.